Hello, and welcome to Wealth is Possible, the show where we talk about personal finance and building wealth. We are your hosts, Vino, Vince, and Evan. We'll be discussing various methods of building wealth and growing your cash flow, including the stock market, real estate, cryptocurrency, and various business ventures.
All right, welcome back to Wealth is Possible, and on today's show, it's a little bit different. Once again, you can see I'm in the middle. Usually it's Vince, but today I'm in the middle. I think we had Vino in the middle.
Two episodes.
So for today's episode, is a little bit different.
Heaven's gonna be the host today.
Yeah. So today we're actually not even talking about stocks, crypto, or real estate. Well, we could kind of we can touch upon it, but today mainly we're going to talk about one of the most, I would even argue this is one of the most important investments you can make. And today's episode's even like more so like I would even say it's like a special episode because we're going to kind of go a little bit more personal into it as well. And the investments that we're going to be talking about today is mindset and investing in yourself. For you to even be somebody to be like, hey, I want to invest in crypto or stocks or real estate, you need to have that mindset to even believe that you could even have that kind of wealth, or to even truly even know that wealth is possible, right? There's a famous speech by Earl Nightingale, and it actually comes out of his speech, The Strangest Secret. You guys can actually go watch.
Sick audio.
Everybody,
really?
If you know, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah. You can actually go watch it on YouTube.
This is what a lot of the OG investors and businessmen 30 years ago, they listen to this.
Yeah, like all these like mentors and stuff, like Tony Robbins, all these
even
stuff.
Like Jeff Bezos, listen to
this. This is like the one of the earliest self-development stuff, right? Earl Nightingale.
Who is Earl Nightingale?
Earl Nightingale, I believe he was directly, I'm not sure if he was there during like Dale Carnegie times. Like he was like back in the day. Like if you watch the video,
might have even been before his times.
No, I think it was around that time. Yeah. Okay. But
What about like Napoleon Hill? Is it around that time?
I would argue, like, I'm not too sure the exact time frame, but I feel like it's around the same time because it was like a black and white video.
Okay.
But Earl Nightingale, in his famous speech, The Strangest Secret, I would highly urge you guys to go check that out on YouTube. We'll see if we can put it down. We'll put a link down below.
Down there,
So Earl Nightingale, he pretty much explains that a mind that is not focused or primed is like a ship that is leaving its harbor without a captain or a map. Right? So it will most definitely, it will leave the harbor, but it will eventually hit something and it will eventually destroy itself. So it's like so just wake. That's like waking up without without a focus. Without waking up and just freely, just like letting the world just kind of take you wherever it takes you, right? Just like nowadays we have like distractions literally everywhere, right? Like your phone is a distraction, and then what's happening on the news is a distraction, and then your friends are a distraction.
Parents are another thing.
Your parents are. There's so many different levels of distractions, and like if you don't wake up with a focus, or if you don't wake up with intention, you're gonna be slapped all over the place, and next thing you know, the day's over. And you can only have so many days like that until you waste like your entire life, right? And before you know it, you're like 40 years old, 50 years old, and then you're like, fuck, okay, I don't know what I want to do in my life, right? If you ask Gary Vee, he'd be like, hey, he's got
so much time.
He's still got time, right? But realistically, you lost a lot of your prime years, so you want to really think about that. Like you want to you just like how you would go into things. It's like a business plan, for example, but for yourself, right? Instead of going, you're not just gonna go day by day and hope that you make X amount of dollars. If just say like your goal is like $250K for the year, you're not just gonna wake up every day and hope that you make $250K. You want to see what you need to do to make that $250K. You got to work backwards. You gotta plan it out and then work backwards. Break it down to day by day steps. You gotta do the same thing with your life. You gotta sit there one day, turn off your phone, turn off everything, quiet your mind, and literally just kind of figure out, what do I want to do with my life? Because every single day that goes by, you're never gonna get it back, right? That you're literally one day closer to your death day, right? And that's something that I feel like our generation, or even like our culture, like not even culture, like just like people in general don't want to talk about death. But that's like the one thing that's guaranteed in life. You're
and taxes.
Yes, death and taxes are the one thing guaranteed in life, right? But every single day that goes by, you're not going to get that back, right? So you got to really sit there and figure out exactly like, yo, what do I want to do with my life? You know, like what I want to be remembered for, right? So that way, when you do that, you can kind of work backwards. You could just, and now with the internet and stuff, there's so much examples of people who've probably done something similar or done exactly what you're looking for. And then you just want to work backwards and see exactly what they did and then kind of put your own mix to it. And then, you know, you would kind of attack the day with that intention in the back of your mind. So yeah, we can make this connection to our mind and how we must prime it before we pursue any other endeavor. And we all come from different backgrounds, some rich, some poor, some middle class. But the beauty about our mind is that we can reprogram it like a computer, right? So like that's the cool thing about being a human being, right? It's so easy to program ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, it's not easy, but it is doable, right? Like even like the way you think of things, the things that you pay attention to, everything that you experience through your own eyes and through your own feelings is a program.
That reminds me of I don't know if you heard about the backwards bicycle.
No.
So it's basically like it's like an analogy for like unlearning what you've already learned.
Yes.
And you can't learn a new way of thinking without unlearning what you already know, right?
Exactly.
So he basically reverses the pedals. He takes apart the pedals and he kind of reverses the bicycle. So when you pedal forward, you go backwards. So you have to learn how to pedal backwards, and know, and without falling off, basically.
Yeah.
And then it's a whole process. You have to unlearn going forward.
It's kind of this like process of reprogramming, right?
Yes, exactly. And only once you get to that is, well, if you can do that, then you can unlearn anything and then relearn the whole new way of thinking.
Yeah, it's also like habits or like addictions and stuff, right? Like just think about like somebody who started picking up smoking and stuff, right? Like obviously some people can argue that, you know, obviously like there's highly addictive chemicals and stuff in cigarettes or like, you know, like whatever you're smoking, right? But like you could even like there's a bunch of people that got off cigarettes. There's a bunch of people that got off like whatever drug they're addicted to, whatever, right? So it's like I would even argue that it is all programming. It is all programming. It is, right? Everything. It's a habit, right? If you can just kind of break that pattern and just reprogram yourself to, you know, go back to your original way, because it's like, think about it. Like if you started doing drugs in like 20, 22, 23, and then like and you got addicted to it, you got to look at it like this. Like for 20 years to 22 years, you did not do drugs. What the fuck? What came along the way that kind of made you addicted to this thing now? It's just a programming. It's your daily habitual activities, the people you're surrounding yourself with. Once you change that stuff around, your whole life changes around as well. I want to like to kind of take it back to like, you know, when we first got programmed, right? Like I would even argue that you start beginning programmed from like your parents and stuff, right? Like even when you're in your womb, like 100%. They even say that, you know, if you read a book to a baby in the womb, it can hear it, it can understand it, and all. Like not even, I don't know about understanding, but like it can kind of, it still helps with the brain development and stuff, right? So I would even argue like all the, like everything that your mom or your dad is like seeing and touching and tasting, that all gets passed on through your DNA, and that's all part of your programming. That's like your initial that's like the software you're born with. It's like getting it's
software.
Like,
that's interesting.
You know, it's like the software that you're born with, right? And then like when you come on, like think about it, like from like 0 to 4. The only programming and the only world that you're getting is what your parents are kind of showing you, right? Like what they're telling you, what they're showing you. You know, like in a lot of parents, like, you know, they try to like hide all like the bad stuff about the world and stuff with their kids and stuff. Like, and some would even argue that, like, you know, that's not always the best thing to do, because it's like, yo, eventually the kid's gonna go out into the real world and see Wagwan,
and
right?
have to deal with it,
and like, yo, they'll be lost, right? Because like, yo, like you can't tell your kids that, hey, these things don't exist. You have to tell them how to maneuver around it when they encounter it, because they're gonna encounter it. If you plan on, unless you want to keep your kids like in your basement for the rest of your life, like that's what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, that's why Chamath doesn't let his kids have iPads and iPhones. He's like, go play a sport and lose.
Yeah,
and come back. I'll tell you why it's good that you lost.
Exactly. You know, it's all part of the. You see, even that, like it's early programming that he's doing for his children. He's allowing that to happen to his children,
or he's not letting them get programmed in a bad way, in a sense, right? Through all these media, Facebook, IG, whatever.
Exactly, right? So like, yo, like I know, like obviously, like, yo, right now while I'm mentioning this, like you guys and even the listeners right now, they're probably thinking about, oh, how their parents probably raised them from like their childhood, right? And like just think about it. Think about what your parents told you. Think about about what they showed you. Think about what they were trying to hide from you. Think about your first day going to kindergarten, and there's a whole new world, and there's like whole new kids you never met in your entire life, teachers and everything, and then like your whole transition that happens in elementary school, and then like high school and the university, right? And like as you keep growing and growing and growing, you're exposing yourself to different environments, different people, and like, you know, your world is literally reprogramming itself. You're literally seeing new things. You're downloading new data and stuff into your into your like your body, right? Into your mind, right? Like, and it literally goes back to like the, if you don't know, you don't know, right? You didn't even know a lot of things, like even like right now, we didn't even know that when we were 4 years old and shit, or like 5 years old, we didn't think we were gonna sit here and make a podcast on like our day off and stuff. We didn't even know what a podcast was back then, right? Like, you know, like as things like change and stuff, we evolve with it, right? The beauty about all this stuff now, I would even say, like with the internet, is that, you know, I want to go back to that phrase that I always say, and like, you know, that I got out of the Bible, and like we say it's like in almost every podcast episode, like, he who seeketh findeth, right? And like now with the internet and all that stuff, like it's so cool that we can literally just go online, or like listen to podcasts like this, or and we can literally reprogram ourselves while we're doing other things, you know. Like back in the day, like we had to go, like you had to do the most, bro. You had to do the most to like find a mentor and like go work in those industries and stuff to kind of expand your mind and like, you know, reprogram yourself to that new self, right? Like imagine you were born into poverty and stuff like back in the day. For you to break out of that poverty mindset and like surround yourself with like multimillionaires or like billionaires or whatever, like the gap was so big there. Right now we have like NFTs and like we have like, you know, things on like, you know, like we have like different masterminds and like just like literally, bro, like just like watching a video
like
on
Discord and this
literally,
and
like
it's crazy because, you know, NFTs basically put someone who works like a 9 to 5 in a factory in the same Discord as somebody who is worth like $20 million.
Exactly.
And you can be in the same room just by owning this
that
one
same
NFT.
Common
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Bro.
That's crazy. Right? Crazy. And just like that, like, bro, like there's different masterminds. And
you're basically
like
learning from the mentor for free.
Yeah.
Because you have access to it.
Because you have access to that token.
Well, it wasn't free, but
like
he paid a price.
Yeah, you bought something that you wanted.
Yeah.
But
you're
wasn't, not paying thousands of dollars.
Back in the days,
right?
it would be like $20,000 for a consultation.
Yeah.
Now you're, you know?
Yeah. But yo, like even like watching a video, for example, like watching a video on YouTube and like watching like, for example, like Tony Robbins or something. Like back in the day, like before YouTube and all that stuff, you had to go out and buy a DVD. So there's more friction to like break out of that norm and like reprogram yourself. And before DVDs, the only way to even go to like one of these seminars is to actually physically go to the seminar and like,
it's like audio tape.
Now there's webinars, right?
Yeah, now there's webinars and like, yo, we're being bombarded with that stuff. It's all over. Like right now, like you can accidentally become successful.
Literally.
Like I would even say like even me like opening my mind and like from where I came from and stuff, like me opening my mind to like what's out here, I would even say like a lot of it had to do by accident. Like a YouTube targeted ads and stuff and like, you know, like
suggested videos
and stuff, right? Like
do you remember like the first video you suggested?
Yo, actually,
ever? You don't remember?
I don't remember, bro. I don't remember. But I remember
back in the days when he made those videos while you're walking in the snow.
Trust me. Like, yo, that was like at the that's crazy you brought that up.
I remember that.
Yo, I used to call those the walk and talks.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, like, yo, it's crazy. Yo, it's like, you know, like.
But you still do that, no?
Yo, I technically still do that. I technically still do that.
That was like the beginning.
Yeah. That's when I made this shit.
Inception.
Yeah. No, but I still do that though. But it's just been like, it's just kind of like part of my life now, right? I'll just kind of talk about something that just happened in life, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's just like it's crazy to see that evolution that happens and like and how like things like if you just put your mind to certain things, like I also want to bring it back to like just what you see and stuff too.
Yeah.
Right. So like for example, like what's something that you wanted? What's something that you want to happen? In my lifestyle, in like the next year, what's something that you want to happen in the next year? What's something that you always think about that you want to happen within the next year?
Would like to build a good family with my fiance and just like a sick lifestyle, nice schedule, routine. From the gym to my diet to my work and my investments, everything. Yeah.
So now that you have that, now that you're focused on that, do you find that you see a lot of families that are healthy and stuff on the road, like when you're driving past people, do you see a lot of like healthy couples and like healthy families, or like just like that lifestyle, like that lifestyle that you want to live.
I mean,
like
I already started seeing that before. Even. Yeah. I've already been seeing it around. Yeah.
But have you taken in that after you started paying attention to that? Like that's always been there, but like because you started paying attention to that, like you're that is like popping out to you. Have you noticed that?
No. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It's just like
it's like that's what I'm focused on. That's what I'm gonna notice. You're gonna see.
Yeah. Like it's just like it's like for example like it's like. That's why, like, I believe, like, each individual one of us, like, it's like we're our own universe.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're literally be sitting here and, like, we'll literally be staring at the exact same spot, but then, like, I'll see something completely different, you'll see something completely different, and then you'll see something completely different. Right? Like, like, for example, like, because I like cars, like, I'll probably see, like, a fucking sick-ass car in front of me.
Yeah.
Right? And then, like,
I noticed that with cars, too. Like, I remember when I, like, the Audi R7 used to be my dream car. It used to be my dream car. I used to see it everywhere.
That's right.
And then when I was like, okay, you know what? I want this car, whatever. I used to see that car.
You probably see the Accords now, right?
Yeah.
It's
weird. And you don't notice the other ones.
It's always been there. It's always been there. But like because like
you don't notice the other ones anymore.
That's what I'm saying. But that's because like that's because you set that intention in your mind and like like that's the programming you put in your mind, right? So like now that you set your intention, your focus on that one pinpoint, like your life is automatically going to redirect you to like or like show you that because your mind
has to do with your subconscious mind and everything.
And your mind is all it also associates that with safety because it's like that's the most familiar like the way we're designed is like we're designed to be comfortable with like familiarity and all that shit, right? So like when you see your house, you feel you're instantly safe. You feel you're like your blood pressure, everything goes down. Like unless your house is fucked up, but like like usually like your blood pressure will go down and like you'll like calm down.
Exactly.
And, like you'll be at home. You know that at home feeling.
Yeah.
Right. That comes from that familiarity. But if you went to somebody else's house, it's not the same thing. You're kind of like on edge, and you're like, I don't know about this place.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same concept there, right? But yeah, what about you, Vint? What's something that you want to accomplish within the next year?
Buy a house.
You want to buy a house? Are you paying more attention to houses now when you drive by them?
I mean, I was when like I've been wanting to buy a house for like the last couple of years. So in the start, I was. Yeah. Now it's like I'm just more attention to how I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? No, I feel you, bro. I feel you.
I'm more have more attention on like the whole reverse engineering how I'm gonna do it. You know what you talked about in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, guys. But yeah, guys, going on to the next thing, right? So, the cool thing about this podcast, and I know we mentioned it in previous episodes, like all three of us, we come from completely different backgrounds, right? Like like we're all Sri Lankan, we're all Tamil, but like we all come from completely different backgrounds. So all three of us from this table, like I can almost guarantee you, like it's inevitable, right? Like all three of us, like compared to like how our parents raised us, what they instilled in us, and like where we come from, like we're probably like we are the black sheep of the house, right? Like we're all, that's one thing that we all have in common is that we're the black sheep of our house, right? Like we're way different compared to like what our parents believe in and what they want to do with like and what they want us to do in life. Like we're way different. Like even like us like coming together and doing this podcast, like our parents are probably still like, yo, what the fuck is he doing?
Legit, you know? Legit. My dad literally looks at this shit. He's like, yo, you're wasting your fucking time.
Legit.
I'm like, cool, man, cool.
Exactly. What I want to do right now, like let's talk about that evolution, if we may, right? Let's talk about the evolution, like 100%. From like how we kind of grew up and how we kind of ended up here, and like with these mindset, and like why we choose to kind of take every Saturday of our life, where like everyone else is partying, whatever. Like why like let's talk about that evolution of like going from how we were raised to like coming down here and like wanting to talk about wealth and like knowing that wealth is possible and like like also like the main thing that I want to like kind of bring today for this special episode is like let's actually like allow ourselves to be like a little vulnerable in this episode and like just kind of share like where we come from and what were those key elements that kind of like woke us up and like, you know, wanted more out of life than like what our parents kind of instilled in us. Like obviously our parents obviously want the best for us, right? Like that's why they want us to like, you know, go to a specific type of job and make this kind of money, buy a house, and then like they think like, you know, like there's limits. Maybe they want us to do more, maybe they want us to do less, like, you know, like
but they're like limited to what they already know, how they've been programmed within the community. What's the norm, right?
Yeah,
so they're limited to that.
Exactly.
You're in that box.
Exactly. Right? So there, if you know, it stopped somewhere. It just stopped, right? Yeah. Like I think if you know, it's like every day we're trying to figure out, like learn more and more and more about the world, right? Yeah. So like what do you think is that driving force? I don't know who wants to go first. Vince, you go first. Yeah. So what was that driving force? So for Vince, like you and your family are like way different. Like like for sure. You and your family are completely different, right? Yeah. So like, what was that point for you when you're like, hey, you know what? I don't want to do what my parents want me to tell, because I know like this would be very beneficial for a lot of people listening too, because like I feel like a lot of people like they have a lot of ambitions and goals, but like they're either too afraid of what their friends are gonna say, or they're one like, you know, they're too afraid to put themselves out there.
It's most likely their parents.
And the parents, the parents would be like, oh, you. I feel like over the years, especially like with like the Tamil community, I feel like, you know, the parents are kind of more accepting of like, you know, other careers and stuff.
Like very recently.
Yeah, they're like,
now they're like, okay, yo, this girl makes videos and she's making more than anybody I know.
Yeah.
Right. So now they're like, okay.
But then they'll be like, Anna, you could do whatever you want as long as you finish university, right? Like they'll say something like that.
They'll still come with that in the end.
Yeah. That's like because they want you to have that.
Yeah, they still want you to go $50,000 in debt before you start whatever you want to start, which still does not make sense. But whatever.
I guess it makes like, you know, for them it's like a safety net, right? But like, what is that? Like, what was that breaking point for you where like you're
so
like,
I mean like I wouldn't really call it a breaking point.
Yeah.
I would say like initially the mindset was always, you know, go to school and then get a good job. Like,
why is that? Why do they want that?
I guess that's the norm, right? That's what everyone's told, right? That's what everyone else is doing, right? But you know, that there's no definite like get a good job. It could be anything. Like for me, like I was always like, I want to be a CPA. Like that's it. That was me up until, but like I would say like 2019.
Did you want to be a CPA, or were your parents?
No. This is me.
From you. Okay.
No,
wait,
always,
so your parents never like, oh
no, my parents
be
never
accountant.
No, never.
Okay,
no. My parents were just like, go to school, get a good job. That's it.
Okay.
Done. So whatever that is. Like, you know, technically right now, where I'm at right now, like my parents are not mad at where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But obviously, like, I want, like, way more.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, and I can always, where I'm at now, I could always move up to a point where it's like, you know, they'll be very happy too, right? But right now, I'm in a pretty good spot in their eyes.
Yeah.
Right? But, like, I was, you know, I didn't really learn about how the financial system is set up and how the world works.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think a lot of people learn that.
Yeah, so I didn't know that. So I was like, okay, you know, I make 6 figures, my life is set. That was it. Like I was like, I can do whatever I want, I can buy a house, whatever. And now apparently, you know, you have to have at least a household income of 150,000 to afford a house in the GTA, by the way. So I mean, right?
Depends. Is that not true? It depends on the situation.
I mean,
it's case by case, but on average,
roughly,
yeah.
You need to pay the mortgage.
Like right now,
condo maybe.
No, I'm talking about a house, a detached house in the GTA.
Yeah. On
this
average,
is like literally right now though.
Yeah, like right now, like on average, you need 2 people's income.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. 150,000 combined. Yeah. If you're one person, you get to make 150,000. But that's what it is, right? You can't. If you guys combine, you make like 100 grand. You can't afford a house.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know, like
detached.
Yeah, I'm talking detached. Yeah. Like we're talking detached in the GTA.
Yeah,
right?
the GTA.
Yeah. But anyways, aside from that, you know, I thought, okay, you make this amount of money, you know, you get a house, you get married, that's it. Like I didn't really think about anything outside of that box.
And you live happily ever after, right?
Yeah. That's how I was thinking. And I wasn't, you know, I was just like, okay, you know, finish school, get a job, and then, you know, do my CPA, and then work at a accounting firm. Like that was my.
And then you're up.
That was me. Yeah. Then I'm like that. There's no higher I can go. Like that's it. Right. Like I wasn't thinking about you know, like side like side hustles and like other streams of income. I was thinking that one income is good. Like I didn't know, like
you didn't think about it because you didn't know. Right?
Yeah, I didn't know that it's possible.
Yes.
I didn't know wealth was possible, right?
Yeah.
I didn't think I needed it. Yeah. I thought, you make 100,000, you're good to go.
You can buy anything. You
can buy anything.
Sense, When we were growing up, that was
you can.
Like, now it's
back then, with 100.
Now it's like, that's nothing right now.
Yeah. Back then, 100,000, like you're rich. You're rich.
Yeah. Like 6 figures is like, you're up. Yeah.
Even though it's still hard to make 100K, that's not gonna do.
Now 100,000 is middle class, right? That's what it is, right?
Yeah, literally 100. Yeah, making 6 figures as a family income is like middle class now. It's like normal.
Yeah.
You know,
and especially with inflation and everything, right? So, and then I had this friend named Heaven. He was like he was always like reposting all these books, and he was reading all these books and stuff, right? And I was like, oh, what is this Rich Dad Poor Dad? What is this? Right? So I was like, okay, but like, and then he would always be like, oh, fucking 9 to 5. I was like, who's this guy always talking about fucking 9 to 5 while working 9 to 5? You know what I mean?
Trust me.
Right? And I was like, yo, this guy's crazy.
Where's this guy coming from?
Even after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I was like, yo, why is this guy saying fucking 9 to 5? Like I still don't see a problem with a 9 to 5, right? And then eventually, like not that there's anything wrong with a 9 to 5.
Nothing wrong with it,
it's just that you get to a point where you realize that you're basically like all your time is kind of constrained in that 7.5 hours a day. You're constrained to your job.
Your world is gonna revolve around that.
Yeah,
because you have to think of it like this. Because most of your life, if you really, really sit there and calculate it, most of your life is spent working. Most of your life. If you think about it, 8-hour shift, you're right. Like if you have an 8-hour shift, so like 16 hours is like if you're gonna sleep 8 hours a night, you have 16 hours to be awake. Within that 16 hours, you gotta take a shit, you gotta eat, you gotta do like other things and stuff. You're already down for a few hours. And then you have a few hours remaining, and the 8 hours, that few hours remaining, you're working. So you have like that's why people come home from work. They have like an hour or 2 or 3 to maybe like watch Netflix or like talk or like chill.
What's Netflix?
Exactly.
It's ironic because like we talked about the Netflix credit card episode. What I mean is like it's such a waste of time. But they have some good stuff, but
no, like like to each his own, right? Like the average person will come home, watch TV or whatever, right? And then like,
I mean, it's cool to unwind and stuff here and there, but it's all about.
I'm not saying don't relax.
Yeah. No, but you gotta see you gotta see where you want to go in life, and then like once you know where you want to go in life, you're gonna then you'll start being more intentional, right? Then you'll be like, hey, listen, okay, I'm spending 2 hours a day. 2 times 7 is 14 hours. That's 14 hours a week. You gotta look at it like that, right? Yes. And like, if I add that 14 hours, if I were to develop a skill or like start a side hustle or whatever, like I could make this X amount more dollars, and then that will help me contribute towards this specific goal and whatever, right? Like I feel like that just kind of goes back to the whole like setting the intention and like getting that clarity with where you want to go in life, what exactly you want to do, and like that can only come to you with like. You need to have like a calm mind. You can't with like your phone pinging every 2 seconds and like vibrating, and your amma's like, oh, kula ba sapad already, right? Like all those distractions and shit, bro. Like it all those distractions that takes away from you. That's not you. That's not your real self. Like your core being is when you're relaxed and when you're like breathing slowly and you're just like when you're just there at peace, or like when you're writing or when you're like meditating or whatever, that's your true self.
It's crazy you say that because most people probably have never even felt that. They probably don't even know their own true self.
It's actually crazy.
They're probably listening to this now and they're like,
oh shit. Because you think about it, because I know a lot of the listeners that are like old enough to listen to this podcast, they had a time when they didn't have technology. They had a time that they didn't have their phone and everything on them. Think about that time. Like, imagine you don't have your phone right now. You'd be tweaking. I'd be tweaking, bro. I'd be fucking tweaking. All my shit, my whole day is like my income, my communication, my schedule, everything, everything is on my banking. My method of payment is from my phone. Yes. So imagine that time when you didn't have a phone. You survived that long, didn't you?
Exactly. It's just the way the world has shifted now. Everything they've brought it to a device.
Yeah.
Pretty soon,
I'm not gonna say that's good or bad, but that's the way it is.
Pretty soon they're gonna integrate it with you.
Pretty soon it's gonna be integrated into glasses that you wear.
Yeah.
You won't even have a phone anymore.
No, pretty soon it's gonna be inside your body.
Yeah. No, but like before
wearables,
that, the next step,
wearables is
it's not gonna be like, it's gonna be literally like the glasses that Vino's wearing, and it's gonna be like some Dragon Ball Z shit. You know Dragon Ball Z, they had those
the scanner and shit like that.
That's literally what it's gonna be.
Crazy.
Like that's what Facebook's gonna do.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You're gonna see like a sweet girl walking down the road, and it's gonna pull up all her like identification and shit like that. You know,
that's
like,
some crazy
add
shit.
her on IG, and it's gonna.
You could probably DM her and shit, right?
It's gonna be like that.
It's gonna be a different. But yeah, that's gonna be ultimate distraction. But you were saying something. I kind of.
Where
you took him off.
The other thing is like so like when you're working a job, like you can only basically think about the task that you're doing, right? You cannot your mind cannot like you know what I mean. Depends on the job, right? But like if you're gonna do that job well, you cannot really stray and kind of do other things, and that's literally every day from when you wake up till you finish clock out.
These are most like 9 to 5 jobs.
And then once you clock out, you're not gonna be like full of energy. Ideally, so it kind of takes the day away from you. And then, but for me, like I work a 9 to 5 job right now, like full disclosure, but like it's it like after the job, like I realize like I have so much time. Like I have the entire evening, I have my entire weekends, and eventually, like very soon, I'm gonna start like waking up at 5 and running, and then after that, I'm gonna do my side project before work even starts. Like that's just as is right now, but that's the only way I can really figure out how to get in, because early in the morning is when I'm like the most like productive. Like I need to wake up early. If I wake up late, it's just like the way the day is kind of gone and whatever, like on the weekends and stuff. I need to like have a consistent schedule every single day. And I'm just like, if I had the entire day from the morning to night, I could get so much done on what I want to do. Like it's crazy how much I could do, like all the different ideas I have, I can like put it together and execute. If I had a whole day, every single day.
That's actually a crazy thing that you brought that up, because I remember like previously when I was working like my 9 to 5 as well, like I had a weird schedule. I had like 11 to 8, and then like before I go into work, I would go to a Starbucks and I'd work on. I remember when I was like, so the guys that don't know, like I was like starting up like an Amazon FBA business and all that stuff. I used to wake up in the morning, go to the gym, same thing, and then like all my stuff to leave my 9 to 5 job, I would get done before my 9 to 5 job. So for me, it was so like anything that I want, like just say I wanted to get like obviously you can't just leave your 9 to 5, right? Unless you have like some sort of financial compensation, right?
Got it. Setting up his FBA business, I would do it
before your job starts.
Before my job starts.
What time did you wake up?
Like I would before I used to wake up at like 5:30, 6. Like
you started at 11.
I started at 11 though, but like I'd go to the gym and like I'd like
get
work
everything done.
Exactly.
Because after your job, what happens?
You're buzzed. I'll be done work at 8. By the time I get home, it'll be like 8:30. Right. Probably bottle up like a nice quick thing, and then like I eat dinner, and then like bro, I gotta go to bed and wake up for work the next day, right? So like like it's you can get lost in it, bro. I remember I literally like knowing everything I knew and like trying to get out of it and stuff. You get lost in like this fake reality, and you get lost in this weird trance, because like even when you're at work, like more than likely, if you're an entrepreneur too, like your employer hates you. Like your employer will
hates you.
That's not necessarily true. Like I love like that's not true for my job. I have no complaints about my job. I don't have any complaints about like the organization, how they treat their employees, anything like that. I actually love what I do. Like in terms of like I don't hate it. Like I love like helping people and like talking to people on the phone and everything. But for me, at the end of the day, like I'm kind of capped, right? I'm kind of capped. The money is capped. Even if I move up and whatever, like it's there's the way the financial system works is you're paying a lot of taxes. Right. There's different ways to make money and be very strategic about how you're making money, and at a certain point it does not make sense. Like once you know that, it does not make sense for you to work harder to or even like learn different skills when your income will increase marginally, right? Like that's just how I think, and there's like the average person does not think like that, right? You would think, okay, you're moving up, but I feel like I can put in
the same amount of effort and get a way better
I would put even 10 times more effort.
Yeah.
If I know the ceiling, there's no cap on the ceiling.
Yeah. No, you're going back to that. Like what I meant by like your employer not liking you, it's not that you can't perform in your duties and all that stuff. If anything, you might be able to even perform more than the average person at your institution. But what I mean is that like your employer would hate you, as in like all the team building stuff and like all like those little activities that they do within like the company and stuff. Like you usually wouldn't really give a fuck about that stuff, because you're like, hey, you know what, I don't plan on, because you have that mindset in the back of your head. You're like, hey, listen, I don't want to die here. I don't want to give my life up for this job. I don't give a fuck about I don't give a fuck about growing in this company as much as like the next guy who's like relying on this job for his end all be all. Like you carry yourself
but
with
even,
that.
No, but like that there's those people, and then there's also people that they just got the job and they see there's so much opportunity for advancement.
No, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And then there's me, who is like, I see there's so much opportunity for advancement and even going into other fields and getting all this experience. And
but you can do more.
I could end up making well over 100,000. Yeah. But that's not enough for me.
Yeah.
Because I want to do something that I love doing. Yeah. Like I want to do.
And like you also want to get compensated like properly for it too, right? Like because
I want it to be something that if I could work 18 hours a day. Yeah. Like I would love doing it. Yeah. For all 18 hours. I want to work more hours.
Or at least you'll get like compensated properly for it, right? Like
yeah.
Like obviously most times it's not.
Basically, it's not. Like every single job, like what I found, I'm sure other people have found this too, is no job is gonna pay you for the task that you're doing. They are going to ask you to do like XYZ, and they're just gonna pay you for X. That's literally how it is. And if you get a promotion, now you have to do A,
if
B,
you
C,
want to
D,
get
E,
a
F, G.
promotion, you got to do X, Y, Z, maybe even A, B.
You have to do like when you get promoted, you're doing like for like this much. Yeah. And you're getting paid this much more, kind of thing.
Like if you're getting paid like this much, and you want to get paid this much, you got to do this much work.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's every single job. Like every job is like that. No matter what field you're in, like any job is gonna require that. But part of the system. That's just how it works.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like that's why like I kind of like.
That's why people leave companies and go to a different company, because for the same exact skill, another company's gonna pay you more,
and they're starting off higher.
Yeah. Because like the big corporations, they're kind of limited to how much they can offer a raise.
Exactly.
After a certain point, so that's why people hop from job to job, basically. Yeah. Because another job is because now you've acquired all these skills that your job is not paying you for, and because they need you to do that much work. But now another job will be like, oh, you have the skills of XYZ. Okay, we need that position, and that position, the market rate for that is actually here. They're paying you below market because they found a way to figure out how to pay you less, right?
They say like people lost like their whole pride in their work. Not everybody, but like the average person has lost a lot of pride in what they do for work, and there's a lot of factors, but like a big factor is because of inflation. Like because like back in the day, for example, I mentioned this in a previous podcast. Back in the day, you could work at like fucking McDonald's, and you can buy like a detached house, and like you could literally work at McDonald's and buy a detached house and support a whole family. Now now you'll get paid $100K, this and that, and like if you have a family, like if you have a family, and if you have like a family of 4 and you're the only one working making $100K, you're not getting a detached house. You're gonna like every year, as the asset prices and everything starts going up even higher and higher. No, like just like for like that standard, family lifestyle, like that standard buy a house and the white picket fence and the dog.
But that's assuming you don't already own a home, right?
That's just I mean, like I'm like anybody who's coming right now, that's right, who's trying to start a family and stuff, right? There's no pride. Like there usually wouldn't be as much pride in their work because everything is way more expensive now, right? Everyone cares about money more now because like people actually have to like spend money, right? Like I was actually just talking to Greg, like my neighbor here, and he was talking about how Scarborough was back in the day, right? And he's like it's a whole different place back in the day, because it's like if like one person would like there'd be all these manufacturing joints like literally right here, like right by like like in the heart of Scarborough, like you know Alcan, the aluminum company. Apparently that was like the first, I think it was the first Canadian company to go public. We gotta fact check that. That's what he told me. And apparently it was on Brimley and Lawrence or some shit.
No way.
Yeah,
that's pretty big for the first Canadian company.
Yeah. And the GM used to actually be in Scarborough as well.
I still see the Alcan trucks driving around and stuff.
Okay, I never noticed that. But like apparently GM used to be in Scarborough as well. And then he said, well, like there's a whole bunch of manufacturing jobs. So like every job that pretty much got outsourced, like China and India and stuff, apparently it all used to be local, like in Toronto and stuff like that, right? So how would it usually work is that one person would work in refrigeration, one person would work in cars, and one person would work in like whatever, right? Like let's say windows, for example. Yeah, it didn't matter how much money each individual made because the money stayed within Scarborough. Yeah. Right? Because like if one person made windows, a company would give them links on windows and all that stuff. Everyone's buying the windows off that one guy. Everyone's buying the cars off that one guy who makes the cars. And everyone's buying the refrigerators.
Money stays in the ecosystem.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter if one guy's making more money than the other guy because the money's going to stay in that. So if your neighbor's making more money, you're actually happy because they're spending more money with you at the end of the day. And then that's getting spent. You know,
obviously, as time went on, there was
globalization.
Other countries, this, that.
Why do you want to do more than what your parents told you to do?
I mean, I think that one, I know that I'm capable of it. Yeah. I know it's possible to do it. I know there are other people. I see other people on the internet that are doing it in YouTube videos. And there's like everybody, little kids, you know, all sorts of people. It's the norm. The norm never used to be that. Little kids are not making $12 million off of NFT back in the day, right? It was YouTube wasn't as big back then when you're growing up. Like YouTube was like the place you go to get entertained, right? Now it's, you know, entire courses are on YouTube and people are giving it out for free because instead of getting like fiat currency, they are getting social currency in the form of subscribers and followers, right? And which is actually more valuable, right? Obviously, than monetizing, you know, asking people to pay you for certain skills, right? But yeah, just seeing like other people doing it and seeing, okay, you know, how they're basically giving away the blueprint of how it's being done. And, you know, kind of learning about, you know, how to start a business and, you know, how to, you know, the whole tax system, for example, was created to benefit business owners. Right, because that's how you stimulate the economy. Right, and just like knowing little things like that, right? Like you know,
and instead of thinking it's inequality and shit, right?
Yeah, knowing. Well, that just, you know, you got to basically see what the rules of the game are and then play according to the rules, right?
Yes.
So you know, just knowing all these little things, that's when I was like, okay, it's possible. I don't want to put in, you know, all these hours I had to put in to study for my CPA exam, which is what I was going to do. That was like the plan A. And then it slowly became my plan B, and then it became, I don't want to do it. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Because, okay, yeah, I could open up my own practice. I could start a business. But again, like, I'm not passionate about that.
Passionate about it, yeah.
Like, I'm passionate about numbers and, you know, certain aspects of accounting. But, you know, to be a CPA, that doesn't really cut it. You got to know the theory and all that stuff. You got to really like study and know the.
That's your day and night right there.
Like you gotta really study. Like you know what I mean.
You gotta master that.
And topic. You know, I was in school for a while, so I don't like. I just think that I'm capable of a lot more, basically, and I feel like I kind of understand how the marketplace works and how, you know, if there's something that's missing from the market, and you provide it, and you do X, Y, and Z, and you can essentially provide more value than either the competitors or start something brand new that doesn't exist, then the possibilities are like endless. You know, and like just knowing that alone, you just gotta go for it. Because why wouldn't you? Because it's like, you know, life is short, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, for me, for a lot of people, like, you know, it's all about like, traveling here, there, whatever. Like that doesn't really get me going. I don't know. I don't know. Like you guys like traveling and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like I want to build something, right? I want to build something, and the money's gonna come, right? But like I want to build something, and then obviously that will enable me to travel anywhere I want, whenever I want, right? Financial freedom, really, right? Like discovering financial freedom is like a whole other thing. Like it's finding that on the internet, like for anyone who doesn't know, financial freedom is essentially quote unquote retiring and having enough money that's paying you passively, that you don't have to work, you don't have to do anything, you can do nothing all day every day for the rest of your life. It's essentially retiring.
It's essentially you could take a vacation for the rest of your life and
you can go anywhere you want, and all your expenses are covered.
So pretty much your basic expenses, maybe even more of your basic expenses are already covered.
All your expenses are
pretty much covered from like some sort of like passive income stream that you already set up.
And how is that set up? How that's set up from you working for X amount of years really hard, either whether it is for your job, from your job, or a business that you started, and you compiled a big stack of cash. Say it's $1 million. It's going to be millions. It's in the millions. Before it used to be $1 million and you can retire.
These days now, $1 million.
Now it's more like 2.5 minimum to like 5 or 10 or 20. Like 20 is like you're really, really good, right? Yeah. And to a lot of people, that's going to sound like insane amounts of money and stuff. Yeah. But when you work and you make a lot of money, and you or through your business you make a lot of money, and you know how to invest that money, then you'll actually know that it is possible to get to those large sums of money. But once you get to those large sums of money, a lot of people will think, okay, let me just buy my house in cash, and now all that money is gone, and you're working for the rest of your life. Right? Versus taking that money, investing it into passive income sources such as dividends, which is the lowest taxed in Canada. Well, it's the lowest taxed form of income.
Yes.
Eligible dividends, right? And if you have X amount of dollars and it pays you a certain yield, and you get, say, I don't know, $300,000 passive income a year, that's actually worth a lot more than making $500,000 at your job.
Oh yeah.
Because or making $1 million at your job, actually, even. Right?
Because there was no time spent.
Because well, the thing that we didn't touch on is financial freedom basically gives you unlimited time. Unlimited time, right? Because you're buying back your time. You're buying your time. You're buying your freedom. Right? So you're essentially, because you compiled 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, whatever dollars. There's different. It's called the whole concept is called. It's shortened to a acronym called FIRE. Financial independence, retire early. You guys can look it up on YouTube. There's entire communities. There's a lot of people that retire at 40 in their early 40s. Some people in their 30s.
Some people in their 20s.
Yeah. Right, but a lot of people will never find this concept, or will it's probably like seem like it's not fair or whatever, right? Like, why is this person right? But
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I wanted to kind of hop on there and kind of mention that, hey, like if anybody's listening or watching, you're like, hey, that's not fair. Why do I gotta work and set something up to have a free life? Shouldn't life just be free? And life was never free. Life was never free. Even from the beginning of time, life was never free. For you to eat, for basic survival, for anything, you had to always
make that sacrifice. You had to always be in the forest for 20 hours before you caught a meal, whatever. Right?
Or like you got to go harvest fruits, or and then when the whole farming era came along, you had to still work the farm and all that shit for you to even eat. And then after money and
you
stuff,
spent something. You always spent time.
You had to spend time or money, right? So like
it was never free.
Yeah, exactly. So I would even argue that money is a luxury. It's actually a good time to be alive, because you can actually pay money to eat good instead of having
simplified a lot of things.
It's simplified a lot of things, so even for entertainment, you can just pay a little bit of money and be entertained, versus like you being just bored out of your fucking mind, or like you're not just stuck to doing one task, right? But let's go back to this right now. Like you didn't even come from that background, and like you start doing your own research, and once you start figuring out exactly what you want to do, like it was just kind of like the information started flowing in, and I guess like you just kind of, the more you learn, the more you kind of expand your horizon to where you want to go in life, and like you're just kind of letting life guide you, right?
I want to thank the YouTube algorithm.
Shout out to the YouTube algorithm.
Also, books and YouTube algorithm. A lot of people, like, I think I got DMs like once we started Wealth is Possible, like, oh, like, what do you like? How do you know all this? And it's literally YouTube. and books.
Yeah.
That's it.
And that's not rocket science.
Yeah, and it's honestly, to be frank, like I learned way more than in school in my degree, right?
Same.
Like there's a lot of things I learned in my degree that I learned that I'm realizing now that, like, not like, you know, theory and stuff, like facts and stuff from books and how to do certain things, right?
You learn how to learn.
I learned like, for example, how to structure this podcast, how to do outlines, how to you know, take notes, how to do research on what's credible source and what's not a credible source. Like I take that, those I guess skills. They're soft skills or intangibles, whatever you want to call it. I take that and I apply it to whatever I want to build or whatever, like
whatever research you're doing for like a business or whatever, right?
Anything like that, I take that. But aside from that, like everything else is all specific to specific jobs, right? Like doing specific jobs. But everything else, like that stuff, I wouldn't have learned it if I didn't go to school. Like I wouldn't be as proficient as I am in those things because I was forced to do that in order to write papers and this and that, right? So I learned it, but never did I have any idea that I would still be applying that stuff now. You know, I had no idea that I would be applying that stuff.
It's kind of like yo, school only takes you so far. Like, you know, like for example, like if you want to be a realtor, you got to do the realtor course, right? But like the realtor course is not going to teach you like how to be a good realtor. It just teaches you how not to get sued. Right.
And then there's gonna be different levels of realtors based on what are their skills, like their inherent skills, what they're already good at, and stuff like that. Right?
Exactly. Like a lot of like successful realtors that I see, like they are proficient in like other skills. Like they're like either a CPA too, or like, you know, like they have like different skills, and like
and also everybody's like brain works different ways. Everyone's like, someone's creative, someone's more analytical, someone's this, someone's that. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like I was more like I guess like analytical. I think you're right. Like,
all right, Vino. I know you've been waiting there patiently. So so Vino, like you know, obviously, like you know, you also come from another like completely different background.
Yes.
You know, your parents specifically want you to do certain things. Your parents, I would even argue, like kind of set up like a platform for you and your brother and stuff. And like you can literally take that platform and like grow it and just become successful in that platform. But you obviously want to do your own thing too, right? And like obviously you kind of face your own challenges and stuff along that. So kind of like kind of share your experiences with that. Like kind of share like what your parents kind of wanted you to do initially, and what you are doing right now, and what you're trying to do, and you know, and what your intention behind all of that is. Like do you want to kind of show them that like, hey, there's actually other avenues out here, and or like, well, just kind of share your story, just kind of tell everybody where you come from, and like, you know, like where you want to go.
I mean, I came from like a family where my father was very hardworking. You know, he had a good job, he made good money, he provided for us, and he set us up, and he taught us the same thing in the sense of like, you know, go to school, get a good job, just like I did, and you can provide for your family, right? And you know, I listened to that for a long time in the beginning, and you know, I went to the university route, and I realized university wasn't for me. And you know, my dad was an electrician, and at that point he already had his own business, and you know, I talked to him and I'm like, you know, university is not for me, it's not working out, it's not sticking with me, I don't see a future for myself. He's like, okay, listen, you know what, why don't you try getting into the trades, because you know, your brain obviously works differently, you want to work with your hands, you want to kind of have you know, build your life on your own terms. Once you get these kind of licenses, you can kind of, it's a little bit different than just a regular 9-to-5. Once you get these licenses, you kind of work for yourself. And he's like,
it's like a
business, how does that sound? I'm like, you know what, why not? I'm down to do that. I'm down to go and get my electrical license and my HVAC license. And he had a company that revolved around electrical, right? So
what did your dad do? Like,
so he has a company that is called Amazing Electric Motors. He rebuilds and rewinds electric motors and pumps and gearboxes and all different types of industrial equipment. So you know, I thought about it like, you know, why don't I go get these licenses, and then you know, I can either work for myself, or I can even start working with him one day and help him out and grow the business. And I did that. And when I got my electrical licenses and my HVAC licenses, and I started working in different companies. At some points I even started working for my dad, and you know, there was a point where I actually got introduced to a network marketing company. It was called shop.com. And that was when it kind of really started for me, because before then I didn't really know about anything other than the 9 to 5. I never knew anything other than trading your time for money. And once I got into the network marketing company I realized that there's a whole nother world in the sense of building leverage and building businesses and building connections and how that you can just do way more, right? And I realized like a whole nother world that I never even knew, right? And I was like, you know what, I want some of that. Like, I seen how my dad was living. He made good money, but
he had to go into work.
He didn't really create leverage. Like, he didn't. He even though he had a business, he had employees. It's still, he didn't really create true leverage. And like, I wanted that leverage. I wanted that passive income. Like, network marketing companies, they usually get people to hold on to that idea of the residual income. That's where people usually wanna just get crazy over, right?
So wait, what did your dad think of that?
You know, I mean, he was obviously supportive in the sense of like, you know, I support you doing what you want to do, but at the same time, he wasn't happy. He's like, bro, these companies are just, you know, they're just gonna screw you over, and he was right to a certain extent in the sense of like 95%.
From the beginning he knew.
Yeah, from the beginning. Okay. And it made sense because, you know, there's a proven statistic: 95% of people that join network marketing companies do not succeed. Right. But at the same time, 95% of businesses in general, you know, I don't want to say 95%.
Most entrepreneurs fail.
Yeah, most entrepreneurs fail. Right. So I could say that about anything. Right. So, you know, he still didn't want me to go down that path because he didn't see me succeeding, right? Just because of statistics, right? And I seen that side of it, and I was like, you know what, I'd rather try and fail than just not try, right? So I did it up. I built that business. I didn't build it to like a 6-figure residual income, which is what I wanted in the beginning. But at a point I realized, you know what, network marketing wasn't the way I wanted to go, but I was super happy that it had showed me the possibilities that were out there.
Because the cool thing about it is like, yo, like as we like, you know, go along the journey, like, you know, you might want to do this and then you might want to do that. And the cool thing about it is that when you're younger too, like, you can literally do those things because it's you have time to fail and shit, right? So like, you can do those things, but like, it's not like you didn't waste your time, right? Like, you learn so much skills from 100%. Every single thing that you learn and try, that like when you finally go into like another skill, or like, you know, your final form, right? Like you have all these extra skills in your tool belt that you can kind of use to apply. Like even like right now, like when I just joined real estate, like I find that I'm picking it up like a lot faster than like a lot of people like you know that were joining brokerages with me.
You came in with so much of that.
Yeah, right? Like I came in with like a lot of like just things that I've tried before, and like I like just knowledge from like different places that like, in even like maneuvering, being able to talk to people and all that stuff, like it's like I've learned that like throughout my journey. And then like, you know, like just like being able to use that, it's like it's almost like it's just, you're still investing in yourself by trying these different things and learning about these different things. But yeah, sorry, continue.
Yeah, so I don't remember, what was I saying?
You realized shop.com is not for you. Like network's not for you.
Yeah. So, you know, I was in it for about 3-4 years, and I had learned so many skills in terms of team building, sales skills, communication skills, personality skills, you know, even just body language, like so many different things, right?
And that's like NLP. That's like one of the most important shit.
Yeah, and I took that. I took that for the rest of my life, and even now, whatever I do, a lot of my skills come from what I learned during those years. Yeah. But you know, ever since that, it basically like showed me that, you know, it basically showed me you don't know what you don't know, and you don't even know that you don't even know it, right? So I realized that at any point in time, there's probably a bunch of shit that you don't know, that if you knew it, like, you're probably want to taste of that now too, right? So I'm always like, it showed me to always keep an open mind,
stay learning,
stay seeking, stay learning, stay hungry. But you know, ever since then, you know, I still had my licenses. I do my own gigs. I have my own contracts coming through. all the time. I help my dad build his company, but just generally, like, you know, I have you guys that I'm building, you know, this podcast with, and this company with, this empire with, and it's just generally, it's just like, I just know that there's so much out there, and, you know, I just know that if you do the right things and you make the right moves, and, you know, you just work hard, like, you can do whatever you want. Like, it's just a matter of time and effort, right? I think
how much time you're willing to put into it, and how badly do you want it.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And I think I realized that, and it's like, you know, I'm still in the process. I'm not a multimillionaire yet, but it's like, you know, like, we're really not far from it. I mean, a lot of people would argue, you know, you guys are nowhere near, but, you know, deep down, I know we all believe, like, you know, it's just a matter of time before we're on billboards, and, you know, I mean, I'm already walking around and people are like, yo, aren't you from that podcast and shit, right? So, you know, like, it's just a matter of time before
you have to see it in your head before you can see it in real life, right?
Yeah, exactly. The physical form is always the last form.
Yeah.
Right. It's just like working out, for example. Like, you go to the gym, and then you have like a specific body that you want to attain, so you're doing the reps and all these things.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, like, by the time you achieve that body, like, more than likely, like, you'll still express gratitude for that body or whatever goal it is, but by the time you get the body, it's not anything new to you, you know, like, and that's when, like, everybody else will be like, oh shit, yo, you're fucking D's, bro, oh shit, you're mad shredded.
But you had it in your mind.
You're like, fuck no years, shit, right? Like, yeah, like,
this is like me in 2019. I was like, you know, trying to lose, like, so much weight and get shredded and everything, and I was like, because, like, I was like, I got really fat, right? And I wasn't seeing any progress. I wasn't seeing anything, and people would be like, yo, like, you lost bare weight. Yeah. And I'm like, nah. Yeah. Like, I don't see a difference. You know what I mean? Like, I've just been doing the same shit for months. I didn't see anything. He's like, no, you look completely different. Yeah.
No, you.
I was like, what?
Yeah, bro. Like, I would even say, like I actually, like, I say, like, my affirmations, like, quite frequently, like, in the mornings and stuff. Yeah. And, like, what I usually do is, like, I change my, like, affirmations, like, every few months and stuff, right? So usually, like, I found this like, it tends to work, like, so I do it first thing in the morning, so, like, that's usually when, like, your subconscious is, like, most vulnerable, right? That's when you want to do, like, that's when you want to prime yourself. So when I would read out my affirmations, like, I'll, like, write out something, like, I'll write it out in a way, like I like writing, right? So, like, I'll write it out in, like, a specific way that, like, people don't usually say, like, in like, dialogue. Yeah. But I'll write it out, and it sounds good to, like, say it out, and I'll say it out every morning, and then, like, I find that, like, once I've achieved that goal, somebody would say my affirmation back to me, and they had no clue that it's even my affirmation. They'll say it back to me the same way that I wrote it, and it's like, I'm like, yo, what the fuck? That's crazy, right? So, like, yo, when somebody else is complimenting you, like, I not all the time, but, like, when somebody says something or compliments you on something, I would say that, like, you know, like, you've probably attained that to the physical realm. What's your long-term goal? Like, what do you want out of all of this?
I think, like, just like anybody, it's like financial freedom and buying back your time and being able to do what you want when you want, right? Yeah, whether it's work or whether it's be on a fucking island, like, literally until you die, or whether it's you want to travel, you want to hike, you want to backpack, whatever it is. Like, I don't even know what I want, but I know that financial freedom is gonna come first, so I can figure out the rest, right?
Yeah. All right, bro. I guess it's I guess I gotta share now, right? Yeah, bro. Like, I would say, like, same thing. Like, yo, you know, I grew up, parents were super strict. Yeah. You know, I grew up, like, pretty sheltered, bro. I actually grew up pretty sheltered. Like, you know, I grew up in a big family, lived with my cousins and stuff for a long time. So, you know, kind of just stayed inside that. But I always knew that, like, something about it, bro, like, I don't know what it was. Like, I always felt like I was out of place, you know? Like, something, I just felt like it was, like, so there's something wrong there, you know? Like, not even something wrong. I just felt like I was out of place, right? So, like, you know, like, I was always, like, to myself as, like, a kid, you know? I was just doing my own thing. Just, like, you know, watching car videos or, like, whatever. And then, just growing up, like, I say growing up, like, I kind of got to experience it all. Like, I got to experience, like, middle class life. I got to experience, like, the good life, and, like, I got to experience, like poverty too, right? Like, I got to experience, like, all three, right? And, like, I would say, like, I think, like, entrepreneurship in my house was kind of, like, looked like it was looked like my dad was an entrepreneur. My dad had like an auto body shop, and like he was like a mechanic too. So my dad would always like, you know, like fix cars on the weekends or whatever. Like my dad was like the kind of the go-to guy, and he was like pretty well known in like the Tamil community. And like, you know, like a lot of people would like bring their cars and stuff to my dad. And like, you know, like I always saw my dad, I'm like, yo, that's pretty cool. Like how like he was doing his own thing, had his own company, and like I know that he had a lot of pride in like that. Like, you know, he's really proud of himself that like that he built that, right? But then like he would always tell us to go to school and get a job. He didn't want us to like become entrepreneurs or anything. Like he's like yo, go to school, get a job, and then like, you know, get a good paying job and just do that, right? And like I was kind of instilled with that, but like I think it's like kind of just seeing how like how well my dad, like just like that, like the pride that my dad had in his business, and like, you know, just being able to like go in there with the skill sets. I think that was like really like appealing to me, right? Like growing up, but like literally, bro, like I would say like up until university I had no clue what I wanted to do.
That was me too though. That was me too. Like I didn't like, okay, yeah, there was like, CPA, but like in terms of like, what am I gonna do like,
for life
in this like, what am I gonna contribute to society? I don't know. Like, you know, I can do like, you know, I learned this, they tell me to do this, okay, sure, but what am I gonna do, like, you know, what is gonna be my thing in this world? I had no idea.
Exactly. Most people are,
you know what I mean? Now like the picture is like getting very, very clear.
It gets more and more clear the more you like learn, and like, you know, and as you like discover, right?
The more you fail and you learn,
yeah. So yo, like,
because we're like AI, right?
We're like AI.
You know, you learn and you adapt.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But yo, like, just going back to this, like, yo, like I seen like I didn't even know what that initial transition was, but like I know like near the end, like, you know, like my dad didn't really like, he was doing really well, but like I guess he kind of just stayed in that what he was. So see, he figured out like a formula that was working for him, and he just kept staying with that formula, and he just like live by that formula. But like, yo, you gotta like evolve as like time goes by, and
you
like,
gotta be like water, right?
You gotta be like water, you know, you gotta be like water, right? So you gotta evolve as time goes by. So like seeing my dad like just kind of piggyback on that one thing that, or those few things that worked for him for so long, and then like seeing that shift when the world started changing and stuff, and like what he used to do didn't work anymore. I seen the way that like my dad started to like just like struggle from that.
So off guard,
he got caught off guard, right? Like he got
that's
caught
probably why he wanted the safer path for you, right? That's probably why he didn't want you to
it happened very, very, very slowly. So like, because like growing up, like, yo, bro, growing up I was spoiled, bro. Like I literally got anything I wanted, bro. Like when I was a kid, bro, I had like those fucking like pocket bikes, and like I had a gas scooter. Like if you looked at my garage, bro, I literally had everything I wanted, right? Like I was like that kid on the street, like, you know, like I would just, you know, I was just doing my own thing, you know, but like, you know, whatever I wanted, bro, I had, right? So like, yo, like I didn't see it happen, but like I saw like slowly happening, and then like it just got to a point, bro. I remember like when I was like, I think I was like near the end of high school, near university, like my parents were kind of just sitting at the table, and they're like super stressed out, and they're like, what are we gonna do for the mortgage? And I'm like, oh fuck,
it's like that.
I'm like, yeah, like, but even then, like I was.
Do you know what a mortgage was?
I didn't even know what a mortgage was like that, right? I'm like, I was just a dumb kid. I'm like, oh, I just fucking pay it, right? Right? I was just dumb, right? I'm like, yo, I'm like, what do you mean, right? And like, I didn't truly understand it. I honestly, I didn't really understand what's happening. I feel like my parents weren't very like they didn't really like, I guess they did try to communicate it to us, but like at the same time we were just, I think I was just dumb, bro, right? And like I don't know, but I
wouldn't say you're dumb, but I mean at that
point
I just didn't really
we were
know.
all
like pretty clueless.
Yeah, and I'm just like I just didn't get it. I'm like, yo, but I just go to work and make some money, right? This is so naive, right? Yeah. And then bro, and I remember like, yo, like just going from like a house, like we had to like panic sell our house, and then like we got lucky. We panic sold our house, we got our money out, and then like, yo, we just started renting. And I'm like, yo, and then I started to see things like shift, and I'm like, yo, wait, this is pretty fucked up, right? I'm like, yo, like and then like I slowly started to like take in what's happening, because like, you know, like there was like points in time where like, you know, like I'd want to go out, or like I'd want something, and then we're like, you know, I'd want to go out as a family, and then my family would be like, yo, we can't afford it anymore. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this? I'm like, wait, what? We can't go to Mandarin anymore, right? Right? So like, yo, and then to like whatever, like I just started working. Like For me, bro, I don't know, bro. I was just in my own world. For me, it was just like cars. Like as long as I had my cars, I was happy. So I used to go to work. I just worked. I just worked like random jobs and shit. I was in school, and like even like nothing was intentional. You know, like I just went with the flow. You know, I went to school, had a job, modified my car, and I was like, I was somewhat happy. And then like I guess I really don't even know the transition, but I know that there were a lot of peaks in my life where like I really needed money to like do certain things, and like not being able to have that money, it was like it felt like I was like stuck. Right, and like I would look around and be like, "Yo, how are all these people doing it? How are these people like just going out? Like, how are these people driving these cars? You know?" And then like I remember like one day like I was in this is when I was in university, and I was thinking. I was like, okay, cool. Like I can finish this job. I was like, there used to be this website, like their career cruising, careercruising.ca or careercruising.com.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Like all the 90s
elementary
kids
school. Yeah.
All the 90s kids would know this. So there used to be a website called Career Cruising, and then like I would just kind of like they had like these tests and stuff, and based off like the test will show you like
where you're gonna be.
They'll give you like 5 to 10 options of like what you can what you could potentially be, and like bro, like these are all jobs, bro. They're not like businesses.
Yeah, it wasn't
stuff,
like
right?
you can run at this company, that kind of. It was like you can work at this company.
Yeah, and like back then, like we didn't have Gary Vee to be like content, right? Like we didn't have all that back in the day, right? Like back then, like we just had career cruising, right?
Legit.
So like I don't know what I wanted to do. I was I was just in school. I was in school for criminology. Because like I was mainly because like I was good at law in school, and I had interest in psychology. That's it. Like I still don't give a fuck about criminology, right? Like it's just something that I did. And then like I'm like, okay, cool, I can finish school. And after like I was looking at the jobs that I can get, and I'm like, starting positions are around like 50-60 grand. Yeah. And like I don't know anything about saving up for a house. I don't know anything like I had none of that like none of that stuff was passed down to me. And then like I remember one day I was like, I don't know what it was, bro. I was just like stressed out, and I was like doing my calculations, and like I was like, I can afford rent for a basement in Toronto, and I could finance a brand new Toyota Camry if I once I finish school. And I'm like, bro, is this a life I want to live? And to like I was legit like no cap, like around that time I was so confused, and like I felt like I had no way out. Like I literally like was questioning what the point of living was. I'm like, like why am I here? Like why am I here? Like I don't want to fucking live in a basement and drive a Toyota Camry. I'm like, what's the point of that? I don't want to do that. And I was literally questioning like all of existence. And then like
that was like the turning point.
Like that's like around that point, right? And then like I don't know what happened, bro. I don't know if it was YouTube or like I don't know what it was. Like I guess it was YouTube first, because like some YouTube videos were like it kind of like people were like saying, oh, start reading, and like they're recommending these books, and I started reading books, bro. And like once like and the craziest things about the books were that when I started reading the books and like learning about the principles of being like successful and like being a good businessman or whatever, like I started to see all the flaws in my dad's business, right? And like I literally like it was crazy, because like every book that I was reading, I would see where my dad went wrong in his business. And then like I literally learned like everything, like not everything, like a lot of things, like I learned from other people's failures, right? And then like even my own failures, and like I would just keep learning, and like I think I just kind of like just reprogram myself, and like just figured out like there's so many options out here. And like once I took away that whole programming of like money first, I think that was like the biggest thing that was my turning point, was money first. Like it's like like right now we're like, when we think about what kind of lifestyle we want, we limit ourselves because we think money first. We're like, with my job, if I have $150K, I could probably buy like a single detached house, and probably buy finance this car. Like we think about it like that, but like realistically, you gotta like disregard everything you know about money and like whatever's real in your world, and you gotta literally close your eyes and like literally like if you had no limitations, like whatever that comes to your mind, that is your true self, right? And then you got to work backwards and be like, hey, how the fuck do I make this amount of money? And then you gotta figure out how you gotta figure out how much money you need to attain that lifestyle, and then you just work backwards, and then like I think like things just kind of reveal itself to you, right?
So but like you gotta you gotta want it that bad though. That's what it is. People can be like, oh, this is what I want. They're not going to do anything about it.
That's the thing.
I think that's a whole other topic.
That's a whole other
topic. Yeah. That's a whole other topic.
But that's the reason the system is set up the way it is, because not everybody's like cut out for that.
Yeah. Not every. No, 100%. Literally. Like,
not everybody can be build an empire and do this and do that.
And not everybody is cut out to take a risk and do that, and then because you're scared of failing. Not everybody is okay with failure.
Yeah.
Right.
And but like
you can't get to whatever you want to do without failing along the way.
I'm telling you, bro. I was literally like exactly like that, bro. You know, like it's like I feel like from like who I was like when I was like sitting there like just clueless and helpless, like thinking about that that Camry in the basement to who I am now. Like it's like I would have never even guessed that like I could even think like this, you know. Like it's like once you know it's possible once you know it's possible, bro, like I think it's like you get to a point where like it's either that or nothing. Right? It's like, and then that's what creates that true desire, because like people are scared to fail, people are scared to even have that desire because they're scared to even dream, because they don't even think it's possible. They don't even know it's possible.
They don't even know,
right? Because like you don't know it's possible. Like if you're just used to your parents,
you have to
going
really
to work,
see it and know it before you can want it.
Yeah, right? You have to know it's possible. Like like it's just like when you tell someone like I guess now I guess now everybody's a millionaire, but like back in the day when being a millionaire was like it was like being a billionaire, right? Yeah. And like you're like, yeah, man, like. And then you go to someone, you're like, hey, I want to be a billionaire. Hey, I want to be a millionaire. And then people go, don't we all? Yeah, you can, bro. You actually can, right? And like it's just like you actually if somebody is a millionaire, then you can be a millionaire because somebody did it.
If one man can do it, any man can do it.
Yeah, right? Yeah, right. So I think it's just like the main thing is just instilling that belief that it is possible, right? And it is possible. And like I think now with the internet, like, yo, you could literally like Google literally anything and like you can literally figure it out. There's all these books that have been written out. Like this is not we're not figuring anything out that's like brand new and shit. Like, you know, we're not reinventing the wheel. The wheel's already been invented. You just had to go pick which avenue you want to go from and just go do that, and then you can build that life that you want. So I think I think this is one thing that I want to leave with anybody who's like watching or listening right now. I want this to be like your wake up call. Like I want this to be like, hey, like if you guys are living a life that you're not fully satisfied with and like whatever, like, and you know there's just more for you out here. That's probably why you've been listening to a podcast called Wealth is Possible, right? There's more for you out here. I want you to like literally forget everything your parents told you. I want you to forget everything that like everybody around has shown you. I want you to forget everything you've seen in life and like literally just like step away, take some time away from yourself, and like literally just close your eyes and like just like pay attention to your breath, breathe deep, get into like a nice calm mindset. Get into like a nice calm like mindset. And like remember when you were a kid, you used to like lay down in the grass and you just look up and it's like this literally like just like it's just like so relaxing. If you have to go do that right now. Just go lay in the grass and just go look at the sky.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and like yo, literally forget about money, forget about everything, and imagine you can get anything you want in the world. And just literally just design that
just start
dream.
To look within yourself.
Yeah, look within yourself and just imagine that dream life that you want for yourself with really no limitations. No limitations, you know? And like, you know, like actually, like, you know, like it doesn't have to be like a gold fucking toilet seat or anything. Like, you know, like just imagine like, whatever that comes to your mind, that is like a clue of like what is like meant for you. Right? So I want you to just go think of that and like just revisit that like at least once a week, and then more often, and even
that isn't going to be the final thing. That's just what you just kind of started to figure out. It still takes time to really figure it out.
You want to really visualize like what you want, where you want to go, because then you start to like that. It's like a treasure chest, and it's like a map, right? And like that map starts to become more and more clear the more you see that picture. And like it's just like how we mentioned earlier, like, after we started focusing on one thing, we start seeing it more often.
Yes.
Once you start focusing on that dream, like, whatever you're doing right now in life, it was meant to take you to that dream. It might not be directly from it, but it might be associated with it. right? So like just literally just go back to that dream every single day, and like, you know, just keep your mind open, keep your ears open, keep your eyes open, and like, yo, listen, like
anything is possible, man.
Yeah, and like, you know, wealth is possible.
Oh yeah,
right. So yeah, I like, this is a little bit of a different episode. I know,
100%.
You know, we didn't.
I think it's good, especially through all these tough times and uncertain times. It's like, you know,
I think
we really
it also
take a step back.
Drills into like where the name Wealth is Possible comes from.
Yeah. Because like, before you guys even try to make money, you gotta remember, like, it's not always just about the money. Like the money, we're all making the money so we can at the end of the day achieve freedom to get to that life that we want, right? But like, if you just make money, you're not gonna be happy if you just make money, right? You have to make your life intentional, right? Make the money so you can go do the things that you want to do. So yeah, this episode is a little bit different. You know, we kind of left you off on like a different note here, but
yeah.
I would say
it's still very valuable.
Very. I would say this is one of the most important things, you know, because this is like,
starts with that mindset and attitude, right?
Yeah, just get that mindset right, and just tune in next time. We're gonna have a lot more gold content for you guys, and we're actually gonna start doing interviews for you guys. So you guys can be a lot of new guests that are going to be coming on, sharing their journey. You know, talking about what they kind of went through when they started their businesses, what they're doing right now, their goals. A lot of local, like a lot of local rock stars that are going to be on the podcast, and hopefully they can teach you guys some nuggets. I think me, Vino, and Vint have, you know, we've said a lot of things. We said a lot of things that we need to say on the podcast, but I think it's only fair to, you know, use this platform that we've created to let other people speak as well. And you know, at the end of the day, like, our main purpose here is to just kind of
learn. Everyone learns, and we learn with them, and grow, right?
Yeah, and just kind of expand our whole, like, if you know, you know.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
And the more we expand in that, the more we can kind of, you know, teach each other, and then the more we can all grow together, and the more wealth we can kind of build within our community. And our community doesn't just mean like just brown people. I mean like just like our community as in anybody who's part of this podcast, listening to this podcast, watching it.
If you're a person out there, you could be you know, part of this community.
We should call our community a name. We'll probably figure out a name for you guys. But you know. But yeah. All right, guys. Anything you guys want to say before we go?
I think it's just, you know, like I said, just take that time for yourself, figure things out. It's not a rush, it's not a race. You know, just take your time and don't give up, you know.
Good. Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right, guys.
Perfect.
Thanks so much. Also, make sure you guys like the podcast. We haven't even said it the whole podcast.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys like the podcast. Share it with somebody you think needs to hear this, and also subscribe as well, because we drop a new episode every week. Every week, right?
We drop a video every week.
Yeah, we drop a video every single week on our YouTube channel. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram. We drop reels all the time, and we actually have dedicated reels that we drop on there as well. And you can even follow our personal pages as well. You can see what we're up to.
Everything's in the description.
Yeah, everything's in the description. And until then, guys, wealth is possible.
Peace
Take
out,
it easy.
Guys.
Peace.
Thank you.